Hey, welcome back to the Coin Box. Today we're looking at another Franklin Mint product. I've talked about the Franklin Mint previously on the channel. I've shown a couple of their mini coin sets. And today we're looking at yet another mini coin from the Franklin Mint. And this one is moon silver, not actual silver from the moon, but the next best thing, silver that has flown around the moon. So it comes with this little pamphlet. It came along with another letter, which I'll show in just a minute. But it comes in this little plastic flip with its COA. And the coin is tiny, and the text around it is even smaller. But hopefully you can see that there. It says, this mini coin is made from a special melt containing silver that was carried to the moon on the flight of Apollo 14. So this is an interesting piece for anyone interested in silver, anyone interested in mini coins, in numismatic items. I've gone over that this isn't technically a coin, but they call it a mini coin, so we will too. And of course, in people interested in space and the space programs, etc. So on this side, it says this was presented to members of the Franklin Mint Collectors Society, August 28th, 1971. And it's got a COA, which reads, the limited edition mini coin accompanying this certificate was made from a special melt of silver into which was placed 10,000 grains of silver that was carried aboard Apollo 14 on its voyage around the moon. And it's signed by the Franklin Mint and once again has the date. Now, spoiler here, this is definitely gimmicky, and I know it's gimmicky. I still think it's an interesting piece. But when I read this, it's made from a melt of silver. I was like, okay, I know that this doesn't contain all, this isn't 100% silver that went around the moon. But the question is, what percentage of this silver, or the silver used in this melt, actually went around the moon? Well, I've done some math, and I'll show it to you in just a minute here. But 10,000 grains sounds like a lot, and it's not really that much. So there's this website, which I'll leave a link to below, that says these were made from a melt of silver that included the coins the crew, the Apollo 14 crew, returned to the Franklin Mint. They struck 129,449 silver mini coins, each 13 millimeters, although I measured it and mine measures 12.5, but close enough, in size. According to the insert that accompanied each mini coin, the melt included 10,000 grains of silver that had been flown to the moon aboard Apollo 14. So these were flown, the silver that was used in the melt was flown to the moon and back, along with Willie Nelson's song. So 10,000 grains, though, if we do the math, comes out to 22.85 ounces, which equals 648 grams. So that may sound like a lot, and you may ask yourself, as I ask myself, how many mini coins would they actually be able to strike if they used, all the silver, those 10,000 grains? Well, the answer to that, since the mini coins weigh 26 grains, or 0.59 ounces, or 1.69 grams, the answer to that question is they would have only been able to mint 384 mini coins using only the silver that they got back from the astronauts that went around the moon. So that's not very much. If it's true that they minted 129,449 of these, that means that only 0.3% of the silver in these actually is from the silver that went around the moon. So I warned you, yes, this is a gimmick of sorts, but it's still cool because, hey, at least 0.3% of the silver in these mini coins traveled to space and traveled around the moon on Apollo 14. The website here further states that the mini coins were not for sale, but were sent free of charge in 1971 to members of the Franklin Mint Collectors Society. That makes me assume that there were, at that time, 129,449 members in the Franklin Mint Society, and that's why that's the total mintage of how many of these were made. Now, I said there was a letter that came along with these coins as well, and I found two versions of them on eBay, on different listings. So this first one reads, "Dear friend, it is my pleasure to present the enclosed gift to you." So that's confirmed that these weren't sold. They were gifted to these members. In celebration of the first anniversary of the Franklin Mint Collectors Society. May you always treasure this memento that was made from a special lot of silver containing metal that actually traveled to the moon and back on Apollo 14, signed by Dorothy Hayden. The second version of this letter reads, "Dear member, it is my pleasure to present to you, blah, blah, blah. A limited quantity of these mini coins were made exclusively for presentation to the members of the Franklin Mint." And then it says, "I want to emphasize the preceding point because some newspaper stories have incorrectly stated that these moon silver mini coins were for sale. They are not for sale at any price. Only one specimen is being issued on a complimentary basis to each member of the Collectors Society who was in good standing as of August 20th, 1971. They go on to say these are priceless. Well, they're not actually priceless. They can be found on eBay for around $20 on average. And once again, the Franklin Mint did an excellent job on these. The detail on these coins, in spite of them being so small, is quite amazing. You can see the moon there on the one side. On the other side of the coin, we have the information we've already covered, talking about where the silver came from. So I thought this was a cool item. Yes, it's gimmicky. Yes, the amount of silver in this that actually went around the moon is a drop in the bucket in the mix to the silver they used to actually mint these. But it's still kind of cool, and it probably appeals to both coin collectors and space nerds. I thought it was interesting. As I was investigating this, I found there's quite a collectible market for items, obviously that have traveled to space. But I also found out that astronauts took with them also, cash, paper currency, different bills, different denominations that then later they signed. There are moon trees, which I also found to be pretty interesting, from seeds that one of the astronauts took with them and brought back, allegedly having even germinated on the flight. But so anyway, this fits into that kind of area of collectible coin, not only for who made it or how well it's done, but the story behind it. And yes, it's gimmicky, but it's also kind of cool at the same time. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.